So, folks, my contact information is listed on this page. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out and either email me.
Kevin, do you have that sign-up sheet too?
Yeah, it's being
Okay, good.
Oh, no, all right, but thank you. Well, now I have.
We're always shorting one of them.
What's that?
We're always short a chair on this side.
We got one. We got one.
You got two here, and you only got one person missing.
Who's missing?
Stacy. Well, you know, I can't do everything.
She always sure.
yeah, absolutely. Time and place for next week.
Okay. How is everybody? Good. Make sure to keep passing that sign-up sheet around for anybody that's interested in. I'd say, in particular, the political research and campaigning organization that Kevin's with is apolitical. You know, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're interested at all in political polling and campaigning, it's a great organization to get some internship experience with. And now, if you want to take these, go to 136A, grab the thing. If you want to wait for a little bit, you can just pick the other one up.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I got one other announcement to make before we dive in on the lecture for today. Like I've told you guys before, this half of my job is being an author, and about 1/6 of my job is this class. The author part of my job, for any of you who may think you're interested in being a professor in the future, there's an opportunity that I want to make you aware of to do to get your name published for some research right now. If you do this, you get your name published in this journal for undergrad research. It's a great head start for your eventual. Huh?
Sign me up.
Oh, hang on.
He hasn't even told us what it is. Is it this LGBTQ
No.
plus?
No.
I just got an email about that. I was like, I'm a plus.
That sounds cool as well. But no, it's actually right here. It's on Blackboard. So if you just go to the information section of Blackboard, go down to other materials, same place where I put the other flyers and stuff. It's called Call for Papers Flyer 2016, and you'll notice here Undergraduate Business and Economics Research Journal. So I'm happy to cooperate with you as a co-author on this. I can help you out with the research, but if I had already had a publication to my name when I applied for PhD programs, I would have been much better a candidate than I was. I did okay. My GMAT score was really high, and I have 20 years of professional experience, so it wasn't really a deal breaker. But for getting hired in a better professor job afterwards, and for getting into a really good PhD program, having a publication with your name attached to it before you ever apply is a great leg up. So anybody that's interested, just email me. The flyer with all the information is posted on Blackboard. The deadline for submissions is November 30th, so you still got a little over 2 months. And even if you don't know if you're interested in being a professor or not, whatever you do in your career, there's a section in LinkedIn for publications, and I guarantee you there's not that many people that have publications on LinkedIn. It gives you some additional street credibility and makes you look smart if you have a publication listed on LinkedIn. So anybody that's interested, please let me know. I'd love to get you guys involved in research. Okay, that's that. Any questions about that? Okay, so the topic for today is guerrilla marketing. So we went through the whole customer acquisition stuff last time, and we're going to build on that to talk about guerrilla marketing this last session. I also, for those of you who were already gone by the time I realized this, the podcast, the webinar that I record for the class normally, I click delete instead of save after the last class session.
I do that sometimes with my homework.
I understand. However, almost the exact same lecture I did in my 3450 class on Tuesday night. So I'm going to post that podcast in place of what I would have posted for you guys. So you'll still have the information that I covered. It's just actually the podcast from the other class, okay? But I'm going to post that on the syllabus this weekend. So, building on that customer development stuff to talk about guerrilla marketing. Where is my guerrilla marketing? There. Make sure you give me my keys back too, man. Thank you, sir. Okay, so guerrilla marketing. So I call this guerrilla marketing because everything in here is stuff that you can do very, very cheaply, and it has to do with viral and individual outreach. Hang on one second. Kevin, here's your other sign-up sheet. 4 names in each class.
4 names in each class. Yeah. There are 10 classes. That'd be 40 people.
There you go. So everything in here is marketing that you can do very cheaply and tends to be viral in nature. So you'll remember this picture from last time of what we're talking about. So, so far in this class, we've talked about web development, which is basically what happens here at the very top. Last class session, we talked about you doing outreach to talk to beta customers and developing some reports like a customer vignette and a market sizing report. Remember that? That's pretty much this phase of the chart right here. After that comes designing and implementing a guerrilla marketing campaign. So from here down is what we're covering today. From here to here is what we covered on Tuesday, and this is pretty much what we covered last week. And then before that, we were talking about your individualized entrepreneurial career plan and really more about thinking entrepreneurially. We weren't actually talking about the deliverables and the sections of the business plan that you're going to write. That has started with last week when we talked about web development, and then continues this week with customer outreach and now guerrilla marketing. Make sense? Okay. So, designing the guerrilla marketing campaign. So, you started out by creating a website, getting a prototype product, and reaching out to contacts, family, friends, and getting their input on the website and the prototype. So based on that input, the next thing you need to do is update the website and update various social media pages that are linked to the website based on the feedback that you got from those beta customers. And then once you've updated everything to accurately reflect the interest and wishes of those beta customers that you talk to, you need to design and implement the guerrilla marketing campaign. So important things in particular for a guerrilla marketing campaign. First of all, what's not on here, but I would put as another bullet point up above, what exact product or service are you offering? When it comes to guerrilla marketing, you might have 10 to 30 seconds of somebody's attention. You cannot tell them all 20 different products and services that you offer in a 10-second attention span. You have to tell them about one product or one service that is the focus of your first campaign. You can do another campaign to focus on the next product or the next service, but decide exactly what product or what service it is that you want to reach out with as your first foot forward. Once you've done that, it's very important to have some sort of a promotion or a call to action. The Condors, the Bakersfield Condors group that we did a project with in my MBA small business class last spring. The basic thing that we did for that was event-based guerrilla marketing. So we would come around and do presentations in front of classes to tell everybody, it's going to be $11 a ticket, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people there, and there's a giveaway for this, and there's a giveaway for that, and we're going to have a burrito eating contest on center ice, and how much fun it was going to be. And if you want to enter for a chance to win a signed hockey stick from the whole team, you have to pay cash by Friday. So it's amazing. That ended up leading to 150 tickets worth of ticket sales before the game, because people wanted to win the hockey stick. Otherwise, there's no reason to sign up before the day before the game. And human nature being what it is, if you don't buy the tickets ahead of time, you get lazy, you have some other plans that night, you don't end up doing it. So it's very important in your guerrilla marketing campaign to have some kind of call to action. Get $10 off or get a free this, as long as you do it by September 30th or the end of the week or whatever it is that you want people to take action by. It's important that you have some kind of call to action. So relating that back to what you guys are going to be doing for your homework, you're going to be reaching out to a lot of advice contacts to get input on the applications that you're developing, as well as the drones and the irrigation. For Baywatch, you're going to be. Wait a minute, where are Axel and Derica? There's Axel. Where's Derica? Okay, yeah, I just realized now she's not there. It's a little bit different for each time. So, getting input from people for Baywatch, you might want to offer $5 off of your first purchase or something if you give us some input on our beta version of the company. For the drone project, I would start by saying, we're really hoping to have this drone. We're really hoping to have a demo version available for testing with people that would like to. If you would like to be one of the first people to get a test run with this, please respond by the end of the month, because we're looking for sites to test the app. It'll be completely free. You'll be one of the first people to get a test the thing. Same thing with the irrigation. So it's not so much that you're asking them to buy. You're telling them that there's a limited number of spots for people that will be testing the new equipment completely free and have first access to it. So if you'd like to be one of those locations, if you'd like to be one of those companies, please respond to us as soon as possible, by the end of the month or by October 15th or whatever. Similar kind of thing depending on the software apps. If you want to be one of the first people to, hey, it didn't even spill very far. That's good. If you want to be one of the first people to be an inside tester, we're looking for beta testers. We need 10. If you're really interested in this, the first 10 that we get here from are going to be our beta testers, and we'll get free access to the app later or whatever, something like that. It's very important to have some kind of call to action. It's amazing how much of a difference that makes. Thirdly, what advertising channels are you using? If you did your research correctly when you're doing your outreach to sample customers, they told you, hey, I tend to listen to word of mouth, or I pay attention to TV ads, or I respond to emails that I get in my inbox. If you ask the right questions with your beta customer outreach, then you know the advertising channels that they normally use. Those are the channels you want to use for your guerrilla marketing campaign. And then finally, what are your customer acquisition goals, and how are you going to track prospective customers? We'll get back to the tracking part at the very end of this lecture, but it is important that you have tracking in place before you start the outreach. You're going to send out dozens and dozens, hundreds and hundreds of emails and pass out hundreds and hundreds of flyers and so forth and so on. You need to be able to capture every single response that you get. If you're not prepared to capture those responses, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. So make sure that that's in place before the campaign starts, and have realistic goals. So, I think for Baywatch, 10 customers. That'd be great. Once you've got 10, then shoot for 50, then shoot for 100. But don't think that you're going to get 500 people buying clothes in the first month. It's just not going to happen. If you get 10 people who really like this product and pony up and buy, that's a good start. And then move from there. Same thing. If you guys get one organization that's really like, yeah, we're on board. We want to make sure that this gets licensed. We want to make sure this thing happens. Don't worry about the other 10 bureaucratic organizations that you need help and support from. Shoot for one first, and then shoot for the next one, and then shoot for the next one. Same way with everybody in here. Have realistic customer acquisition goals. Guerrilla marketing channels. There's 4 main ones that we're going to talk about today. First of them is word of mouth. This can be practically free, and it's extremely effective. The thing that really makes word of mouth work is having opinion leaders that are champions and are going to really spread the word for you. So if you have one person who will tell 10 friends, that's really what makes, you need to know who that person is. Just putting the word out and hoping that it'll go viral doesn't happen. You need to know who is going to be reaching out to just how many people for you. If you know that, then you're going to have success with your word of mouth campaign. Online also can be particularly cost effective. It's very focused. You can be very, very pinpointed in who you target in an online campaign. But it requires that you know the exact advertising platform of your target customer. So if you know that they visit these websites, you know that they search on these terms. Nick, was that a question or just a stretch? Okay. You know that they search on these terms in Google. You know that they frequent these places at these times. If you know that level of specificity, then you can design a really effective online marketing campaign. Offline, also very cost effective. It's usually best done in combination with word of mouth. So I think as an example, Stefan, how's it going? As an example, the same people who are telling friends and so forth about your word of mouth, if they take flyers and they hand them out to 10 of their friends, or they take flyers and they make sure to put them in a particular office location where they know the people at the office, if the place where you put the brochures, if the place you put the poster is a friendly contact who knows that you're trying to succeed with this outreach, you're much more likely to have those flyers or that poster end up in the hands or in front of the eyes of who you're looking for than if you just put them up in random places where you don't have anybody supporting you. You can't control where every flyer or postcard lands, but if you strive to know where each of those are landing, you're going to be much better off. And if you have sort of a shepherd for those offline materials, it's going to be much more effective. And then finally, events. This can range anywhere from a couple $100s to tens of thousands. It's a great dynamic way to interact with people. So the entire marketing plan for the first Condors project was just events. All we did was come in and talk in front of a class like this and do a little dog and pony show of how much fun it's going to be and get people to sign up at the end of the class, like right there on the spot. They can sign up and buy tickets and give their money. That sold 150 tickets, just doing that. And a lot of times, if you have the chance to be face-to-face with your potential customers, it allows you to really build a relationship and bond in a way that you can't do on the phone or in text or in email or by somebody reading a flyer somewhere. So it allows you to really do a great demonstration of the product, and it allows you to build a really close relationship. What is that? Moving things upstairs? Yeah. Really the most dynamic of the four in terms of getting people's attention. Just a little bit of information for all of you about traditional marketing channels. You'll notice that some of the main things that people normally think of, TV, radio, magazine advertisements, I didn't list any of those under guerrilla marketing. They're really important and they can be really effective. Does anybody know what CPM stands for? No. It stands for cost per mil or cost per thousand. Basically, if you do it right, outdoor advertising is a code name for billboards on the side of the road and stuff. If you do that right, it'll cost you $2.26 for every 1,000 people that see that advertisement. It's very, very cost effective. The problem with these channels is you can't buy just 1,000 people. You have to buy 100,000 at a time, or 1 million at a time. So the problem with radio, online, print, and TV is that you can't get into the game for less than 5 figures or less than 6 figures, sometimes even 7 figures in order to be able to buy that spot. It's very cost effective if you have the money, but the kind of ventures we're talking about in this class don't have $10,000 sitting around to plunk into a TV campaign. If you have that kind of money, it's very cost effective, but the reason I don't talk about those advertising channels in this class is because they're usually price prohibitive. And it's not because the cost per customer is so high, it's because there's no way to just target a couple thousand people. We're talking about targeting hundreds of thousands or millions of people in one mass media blast, and for that you need a large pocketbook to be able to get into the game. But otherwise, they are very, very effective media, and as your company grows and gets access to more capital, I would recommend using them. Okay, word of mouth. There's 4 main word of mouth outreach methods: social media, text, phone, and in person. They pretty much are self-explanatory. Obviously, in person is the most dynamic. Sometimes it's not necessary, though. If you just need to get some quick feedback if somebody's interested or not, or tell them about an opportunity, if they're friends of yours, contacts of yours, you can call them on the phone, send them a text, shoot them off a quick email. You can bounce a message to them on Facebook or LinkedIn. There's a lot of different ways to reach out to people for word of mouth. The whole thing is that you're reaching out to people who know you and care about you, and that you're being sensitive to the fact that, hey, I don't know if you're busy or if you're interested or not, but I think this is a really cool thing. Would you, if you're interested, please let me know. And if you know anybody else that's interested, please tell them. Be polite, be nice about it, but get the word out. And whether that means a phone call quick or an email or a text, or whether it means copying them on a message in LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or whatever is the most effective way to get to them, that's what we're talking about in word of mouth. Short, couple sentences. Hey, we're doing this. Take a look at this website. If you're interested, please let me know by this date. And if anybody else is interested, let them know. Quick and to the point on those 4 channels. Online, can be a lot of different things. Google AdWords is a really important one for almost all guerrilla marketing campaigns these days. Anybody know what SEO stands for?
Search engine optimization.
Yes. Thank you, Joe. What's that? Search engine optimization. So basically, if the way that you build your website, the way that you have other websites like link to you, some of the embedded text that you put in the HTML code, it causes your website to pop up higher on Google search results. So on the right-hand side, you've got the paid advertisements, and at the very top, you've got paid advertisements, and then you've got the regular search results. If you build your website the right way, your site will pop up higher on the regular search results, and you don't have to pay. It's a separate way of popping up on Google. Groupon, Yelp, YellowPages.com, blog postings, e-blasts, banner ads, they're all good depending on what your beta customers told you they pay attention to. If none of them told you that they ever read blogs, well, whoever's reading those blogs is not your customer. So don't bother doing a blog posting. If they told you they read blogs, then get some blog information out there. Same thing with banner advertisements. There are certain types of products and services where if I see an attractive banner, I'll click on it and I'll use that product. Other types of products and services, I never look for through a banner. So just important to understand what it is that your target customers are willing to consume in terms of marketing channels. Offline, three main things really: posters, brochures, and other. Other could be pens, could be business cards, it could be postcard size things, it could be matchboxes, all of little trinkets basically of all types. This little thing, and this isn't really, it's sort of a flyer and sort of not, this thing Kevin, I wanted to say Steve Reed. Steve Reed was the point guard on the 1979 Indiana State Fighting Sycamores basketball team. That's from my childhood, but the name Reed, every time I hear the last name Reed, I think of Steve Reed. Anyway, so that's another type of offline materials. Really, really great, as long as you know that you're getting these into the hands of people that are going to use them. You can very easily waste money printing brochures if people just throw them away. But if you get them into the hands of people you know are at least going to read them, I mean, I eventually recycle most brochures because I got the information that I needed from them. But you want to make sure that people are at least going to read them. Otherwise, don't bother just throwing them out there so that they make litter. You know, make sure that you know where they're getting to. And then finally, events. Three main types of events that I focus on. Street teams is what I call them. It's basically, you know how sometimes you'll be at a bar or a restaurant and there'll be somebody walking around promoting a certain product. That's the idea of a street team. You send people to an event with flyers, product samples, and you just go around and schmooze and mingle with people and you hand out free stuff. That's the idea of a street team. Promotional events can either be something that you host and bring people to, or it can be just like what I talked about with the Condors, where you go to a place where there's a lot of captive audience and you do a little dog and pony show. And then finally, conventions and trade shows. You'd be amazed every day in this city, there's some kind of convention going on. It could be the National Association of like blue-colored pencil manufacturers. It might be something that's not really relevant to you, but you'd be surprised how many conferences there are that take place in this city, in this state, in the world every day. And it's a place where you have hundreds and hundreds of people who are all in one place at one time, and it's a great opportunity to talk to a lot of people face to face in one-on-one conversations as opposed to a presentation in front of a group. It's a great way to have 50, 100 one-on-one conversations in one day. And otherwise, you'd have to drive, and it would take you months to have the same number of conversations that you can have in one day if you go to the right kind of a convention or the right kind of trade show. So I've listed a whole bunch of useful information in here for you all. Some of it is more up to date than others, but I really like to just give you this brain dump, and I encourage everybody in here. I think I said this pretty early on in the semester about I may have not said it in here, but basically, this is 2016. Before you know it, it's going to be 2020. Before you know it, it's going to be 2050, and before you know it, we're all going to be dead, and it's going to be 2100. Not to be morbid, but life goes by really fast, and we live in an amazing, technological era right now. It's not really. I mean, it kind of undermines some of what Cal State stands for to say this, but knowledge is not nearly as important as it used to be. It's more important to know how to find information than to possess information. So, this I've given you as much as I can here, but the most important thing is that you all are comfortable, comfortable going out and looking for better ways to do this stuff. And if you find any, please let me know, and I'd like to continue to update my materials whenever anybody finds something. So, just real briefly, I've given you several pages of charts here on the normal costs that you can expect from various guerrilla marketing platforms, some general comments about them, and some apps that will help you maximize your performance on each of those. So your website, domain name will probably cost you about $50 to $100 a year. Actually, it's even cheaper now. I think my domain names I pay $37.99 for to renew each year. $10 to $20 a month for basic web hosting. It's pretty cheap. And Website Grader and Zamanta are two interesting apps to kind of. Zamanta helps you produce more content for your website, and Website Grader kind of looks at your website, looks at the visitors, and tells you things you can do to make it better. Google AdWords. That's constantly changing. The last time I checked, it was a little over $1 per click and about $3.97 cost per mil. So it's actually a little bit more expensive than outdoor or magazine advertising. But the nice thing about Google AdWords is you can actually buy just 10 people or 20 or 100. You have amazing control down to the penny on how much you want to spend on marketing on Google AdWords. That's the really nice thing. And as far as apps are concerned, Google XML sitemap, it basically it helps Google to find your website better, basically. Banner advertisements can be as cheap as $1.50, can be as expensive as $17 or $18. And my Etsy is a nice thing that helps you basically import banners into Facebook pages. It's a good thing for bringing your banner advertisements into the Facebook pages of other people where you want that to show up. Blast emails can be extremely cheap, can be extremely expensive. So usually the problem with blast emails is that you can't buy just 10, 20 email names, and most of the time blast emails work best when you're sending it out to people who know you. One of the nice like Machiavellian things about my position as a professor is that I have an ever-growing network. Every semester I have 150 new people who know me, and if I send an email out to my alumni, I've got several hundred alumni at this point. I'm probably getting close to 1,000 after 7 years of teaching. If I am careful and judicious and I don't send crap out to that list, if I send important stuff to that list, then my students, a lot of them remember who I am, and they'll pay attention to that. And it can be very, very effective. It is also effective if you at least buy a list which has certain demographic or pre-screening criteria. As long as you have pre-screened email addresses, it is okay still to send spam as long as I open spam sometimes as long as it's something that's actually relevant for me. 99 out of 100 spams that I get are not something that I need or want. But every once in a while, there's something interesting, and I don't mind getting that. There's other people that are the same way. What's that, Joe?
Like a Viagra?
What's that?
Like a Viagra?
No.
Is that the 1%?
No, that's not the 1%. It's really more about events around town or like certain products to buy rather than chemicals that I just happen to be like in the market for. Oh goodness, like look at that. But it's not necessarily a deal breaker to send spam as long as you're sending it to an audience that realistically is interested in what you have to offer. MailChimp is a great app to help you better manage your customer newsletters, and basically it helps you manage email lists and send out emails that look really nice to a large list of people. Blog postings. It'll cost you about $13 or so per blog if somebody is a professional that's doing it. If you do it yourself, it's basically free. And then Editorial Calendar is a great app. And all of these things, if you just go into Google, or increasingly you go into the App Store on your phone, you type in the name of these apps, you can just download many of them for free. Some of them, and if the ones that aren't free are quite inexpensive. So Editorial Calendar helps you to sort of just move blog postings around and put them where you want them to go on various websites. Facebook, free, basically. But Send Social Media is a great app that lets you send messages to about 30 different social media platforms all at the same time. So as long as you have a network of people on these sites that actually know you, or at least pre-screened, rather than having to do 30 different blasts of messages, you just do one, and it goes out to LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram all at the same time. So that's a good app for that. LinkedIn, creative portfolio display. I've told you guys a lot about how to optimize what you're showing about yourself on LinkedIn. Creative portfolio display gives you even more ways to show the various stuff in your background. It gives you even a more dynamic way to show it on LinkedIn. Pinterest and Instagram, Send Social Media is great for those. Google Plus, I'm not going to talk about too much. Google Plus is hit and miss on the number of users that actually use it. But Crowd Booster is a really nice app for Twitter that allows you to kind of it allows you to measure better what kind of results you're getting from Twitter campaigns. Search engine optimization. It's things like the text that's embedded, the text and the media that are embedded in the data features of your website. Other websites that reference your page. The types of materials or the types of locations on your website that are being pointed to by other sites. All of that adds up in the Google algorithm for which sites are the most popular when you do a certain kind of search. And there's some good tools to optimize this, and they're varying prices. So the webmaster tools for Google and for Bing are free. You can actually do a lot just to optimize your own how your website you could probably go from being on page 100 in the search results to being on page 3 or 4 just by going in and doing some of your own work with the free tools. To get up higher than that, I've listed 3 here: SEO, Moz, SEOP, and qualified impressions. You'll notice here they range from $100 to well over $1,000 a month, depending on the service. But as your business gets up and running, compared to the results that you get from people responding and to your Google results, it can be well worth it as you start to have more money as an organization. Tracking potential customers. I've been using Outlook for a long time. Outlook is sort of an access-based relational database, but it's kind of it's hard to manipulate because it's in a particular proprietary format from Microsoft. So the important thing is that you have something to track all of your leads as you start reaching out and doing a guerrilla marketing campaign. So one way to do it is just use various categories and group customers into place in the sales cycle and type of product and so forth within Outlook. There's some other products that do it. Salesforce.com, NetSuite, and MyDials. Salesforce.com has become increasingly popular since I first put together this this presentation, and yeah, like can be even as low as $5 a month. Honestly, you could practically, Salesforce.com has such a wide-ranging and good dynamic product these days that even if you're running a one-person sole proprietorship, you could still pay very little money and use Salesforce for your sales tracking. NetSuite and MyDials as well. You can also just use Access or Excel or, like I said, the Outlook contacts folder. Just as long as you have some way to track every little piece of information that comes from customers. And I've got two last slides here on selling, which broadly stated, that's what we're trying to do in any marketing campaign. As I've said to you guys on multiple occasions, I am a incorrigible salesman in many respects. That's what I did in my career. That's really the only thing that I was ever consistently good at as a professional, is being a salesman. And there's an art and a science to selling. Most importantly, like I've said before, and I'll say over and over and over again, there's a rule of 10. If you want anything to work out, you need to have 10 irons in the fire. So, there's a couple of points that I wanted to make specifically about selling here. There's 7 billion people, soon to be 10 billion people on the planet Earth. There's always somebody out there who wants what you have to offer. The challenge is getting through the process of finding them. You need to realize that you're probably going to, there's a term in sales called touches. So a touch is an email that you sent out, or a phone call that you made, a voicemail that you left, a conversation that you had. Each of those is a touch of an individual out there. And in general, you need at least 10 touches to have one new prospect that might be interested in your product or service, and you need 10 prospects to have at least one real opportunity. And sometimes you need 10 real opportunities to have one closed deal. So if you just do the numbers there, that's somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 touches for one closed deal. Sometimes it's more like 1,000, not 10,000, but you'd be surprised how sales is a numbers game. Marketing is a numbers game. So the more times you can reach out to people, the more touches you have of the more people possible, the more likely it is that you're going to find some of them who are interested in what you have. One of the nice things about the digital world we live in 2016 is that there's a lot of information you can find out about your target customers without ever having to talk to them. Social media, networking, associations like the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, databases like Mergent Online, Nexus, Orbis, Reference USA, Google searches. You can get a lot of publicly available information on your target customers. So honestly, if you're targeting a business, there is no reason why you ever need to ask that business, how many employees do you have, or what are your revenues, or how long have you been in business. You don't ever have to ask that information. That information is findable on Google. It's findable on LexisNexis. You want to spend the precious time you have talking with somebody, asking them something you can't find out any other way. So the products that different companies sell, the basic who's responsible for what, who's in charge of sales, who's in charge of purchasing, who's in charge of accounting. You can find that by looking at the company's website and by doing Google searches and LexisNexis searches. You want to really make sure that you ask questions that you otherwise can't find anywhere when you talk to people on the phone, or when you talk to them face to face, or when you ask questions in an email. 2 other things: document everything. I said that you need to have a system in place for recording all of your marketing outreach. I really mean that. A great story that I like to tell in this regard. There's a great contact I have now named Eric Johnson. He's one of the 2 principals of a firm called Borshoff Johnson, which is the largest PR firm in Indiana. Indiana's where I'm from originally. And the first time I ever called Eric on the phone, I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. It was a completely cold call, and he wasn't in. And his voicemail said, "Hey, this is Eric. I'm on vacation. Leave me a message. I'll try and get back to you when I get back." And so I left him a message, and I made a note to myself, Eric is on vacation. Like, he'll be back at this date. Call back then and ask him how his vacation was. And that started a conversation between us, and he's a very good friend of mine now. He usually does guest lectures for my classes every year. And that was somebody that I didn't know at all. I called cold, and just because I made a note of the fact that he was on vacation, that was able to open up our conversation. So there's no piece of information that's too insignificant. They all can help you open a door and start to build a relationship. So make sure you record everything possible about every touch that you have. And then finally, don't take rejection personally. It's an omnipresent part of the process. If you want to make something happen in reality that is not reality today, the world is going to reject you as you try to do that. Don't take it personally. It's just, if you want to make something new that doesn't exist now, you're going to have to deal with rejection. It's not personal. It's just part of the process. And it can be very lonely. It can be very tough. It can feel like, oh my God, I'm just pestering everybody. Nobody cares about my product. I want to go home and cry. I've felt that way plenty of times. And it's just part of the nature of being an entrepreneur. You just have to realize that that's going to be part of the process. Last slide. Yeah, that's the last slide here. What I like to call the Bible of selling, or really, if you're interested in person-to-person sales, if it's relevant for your project, or if you just personally as an individual, as an entrepreneur, are going to be doing a lot of individual selling in the future, especially with businesses, this is the most important information I can possibly think to tell you about selling. It's a hierarchical or pyramid kind of way of looking at potential customers. Prospects become leads, leads become potential customers become actual customers, because you ask them questions and you get them talking about the details of their own situation. The biggest thing that you want to do in selling is not be talking. You know, a lot of people think that to be a good salesman, you have to be slick and talk a lot. You need to listen. Like, you need to get other people talking about what they want and help them to articulate how they want what you have. That is really the art of selling, is to help other people articulate by themselves that they want what you have. A lot of times they just don't realize that they want what you have, but they have to be the ones to articulate it. You can tell people 100 times, you need what I have. It doesn't matter. If they say, oh, you know what? I need this. You have that. I want that. That's totally different. So There's a couple of books called Spin Selling and Major Account Sales Strategy by a guy named Neil Rackham. I highly recommend. These are the most important books I have ever come across in the world of sales. I cannot underline strongly enough to you that everyone in here that is remotely interested in sales should read these books. And they talk about a very specific process that customers go through of recognition of needs, evaluation of options, and resolution of concerns. So once you've found a prospect, and it's not just a lead anymore, a prospect needs to recognize that they have a need before they go on to figuring out what am I going to buy to fix this need, and are there any last minute concerns that I have before I pay. Customers have to recognize first that they have a need to begin with, and to help them do that, there's situation, problem, implications, and needs payoff questions. So they're very specific types of questions. If we imagine for a second, Grecia, if you imagine for a second you are a farm owner here, and I'm trying to get you talking about the drone technology thing. So if I ask you, what are you doing right now to check the health of your crops and make sure that you're using just enough water? What are you doing?
Probably regulating the water usage.
Okay, so how are you regulating the water usage? Blah, blah, blah. You say something about the details, and I ask you, well, does that give you as much control as you'd like over how much water you use? And if the answer is no, then you've got a problem. And then you ask, well, if that doesn't give you as much control as you'd like, what would the control give you? I mean, are we talking about $100 worth of savings? Are we talking about $1,000? What is the value of fixing that problem to you? And then the needs payoff is, well, if I were able to fix this and it costs you $100, you and I have both discussed that it's going to bring back $1,000. Do you agree? Do you see how that works? That's how those questions work. Finally, you're going to want to manage potential customers sort of like in a funnel, and you're going to want to have, for every 5 to 10 customers that you have in the recognition and needs phase where you're having these conversations, you're going to have one that ends up deciding, I want to fix this problem. And for every 5 to 10 people that you have that want to fix a problem, you'll have one that actually gets to the point where they're ready to pull the trigger and make a decision. And for every 5 to 10 people that are ready to pull the trigger and make a decision, one of them is going to choose you instead of your competitor. So again, it's a rule of 10 thing. One last comment. Neil Rackham is my all-time hero when it comes to sales training. There's another really great book by a guy named Mahan Khalsa called Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play. Very, very good about getting down to business and saying, look, your time is valuable, my time is valuable. I think I can help you by doing this. Do you want to try and solve this problem? If not, if you don't want to try and solve this problem, I'm going to go talk to somebody that does, because I don't want to waste your time, and my time is valuable too. It's a very good book about getting down to there's so many times when you're just chatting because you know that you have to find a new customer and you don't know what to do to get somebody to buy. That is a terrible situation to be in, and there's so many poorly trained salespeople that are in that situation so often that it gives salespeople a bad name. If you're really going to be selling effectively, you want to have a conversation. Look, I do what I do because it solves problems for people and it's valuable. And I think it will be valuable for you. Do you want to invest half an hour seeing if we can make this happen and make it valuable for you? If not, no problem. I'm going to go talk to the next person. It's a very good book for helping you with that. With that, it's about 7 after. that is what I had to cover. Any questions before we call it a weekend? Okay, project groups. Please remember, I want websites as soon as possible. So you got until the beginning of, you got until October 2nd, but if you've got a draft website, please email me with the link so I can take a look at it and give you feedback, okay? Yes.
Are we going to be going over this in the 7 o'clock class? Okay, I have the finance club is having a meeting, so I'll be a little late to class.
That's fine. That's fine. I've got a speaker coming too.
Okay,
but
I won't be too much later.
She might be. She'll probably be at the beginning, so you might miss part of that, but that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I was going to ask, what assignments do you have assigned us so far? I know you gave us the one with 25 points.
Uh-huh.
Have you assigned anything else that was due besides the extra credit?
No.
Can I have an extension to do that? Because
The
I've
extra
been
credit?
Not the extra credit, but the one with 25 points. I fell behind in this class, and then...
The personalized entrepreneurial career plan?
Is that what it is?
I think so.
25 points?
I thought it was 50, but maybe it's only 25.
Yeah, I think it was 25.
Well, you can do it. I'm going to take some points off because it's late, but yes, do it.
Okay. You just what did you want from me? What were you asking for if you do inside of the
Hang on.
presentation?
I tell you what, I'm going to email you with the assignment again.
Sweet.
That'll be easier than trying to describe it right now.
Now we just start from scratch.
Yep.
Okay.
Done. I'll forward it to you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye.
Faisal, what's up?
I just want to ask for my group. I have to meet with them. I don't know them actually. I don't know who.
Which group was it again? It was the Pokemon, right? I will email you to put you in touch with the rest of the group, okay? And then you'll have all their email addresses. I can't remember right now who's on that team.
All right, take your time.
Hey, so I wanted to know, did you go over my personalized entrepreneurial?
Say again?
Did you go over my personalized entrepreneurial one?
Haven't done it yet, no.
Oh, okay.
I basically, if you did it on time, I gave you the full points, and I was like, as soon as I can, I'm going to give people feedback on them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's what I want to know too. Because I definitely would like to get some feedback.
Yeah, I will. It's just going to take me a little while. I've got a ton of. I'm trying to go through the PDPs first,
Oh, okay.
and then once I've done the professional development plans, then I'll give people feedback on the entrepreneurial plans.
All right.
And then
And then
hopefully I get that done before the beginning of October.
All right. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
I will get back to you.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
So I'm gonna come to the class for like 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna go to the theater.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sounds good.
And I did that thing online.
Cool. Yeah, if you come to the beginning, I'm going to have a guest speaker talk, so that'll be good. If you come to the beginning and then leave,
Okay.
you've pretty much heard what I'm going to be talking about already.
Cool. Perfect.
Aziz, what's up?
I just have a question. The survey, when the deadline for the survey?
Do it by the end of this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah.
So Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Abdul Rahman,
I can't
what's up?
wait.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.